6 races remain before chase time in the DeWalt Cup Series, and one of the biggest wildcard races into the run to the chase is here tonight, the Advanced Auto Parts 500 at the Martinsville Speedway. This half-mile paperclip-shaped racetrack in Ridgeway, Virginia is a rough and tough track, one where the most aggressive come out to play. 100 grueling laps awaits the 42 drivers tonight, 4 of which had the added pressure of advancing to the final round of the mid-season tournament on their shoulders. Short track racing for Martinsville is next on JRTV. Welcome everyone to the 19th race of the DeWalt Cup Series 2025 season. Short track racing under the lights on a Sunday night at the Martinsville Speedway. I'm Joe Rakowski, Trey Bartle back alongside me in the booth. And Trey, great to be back at a short track. We were at one just a few weeks ago in Vancouver. We saw 4 cautions that day. Since that race, Trey, there have been a total of 0 cautions in the 2 races after. I think that that streak might break here tonight.
You know, Joe, I think these drivers were a little embarrassed from what they did over in Vancouver, because let me tell you, it was a show, but not a good one. But yeah, with the way we know Martinsville tends to work, I would not be surprised if we finally see that yellow flag wave after such a long absence.
Yeah, it's, Chicago and Michigan have been calm races. They've been pretty good races. They've been balanced throughout the pack, but they've been able to keep it clean, mostly due to the fact that wide racetracks, right? There's wide area to go to get away from other cars if you need to. Here today, though, Trey, at Martinsville, there is no room to go to get away from drivers, and we'll be seeing drivers around each other all night long. If we get a long green flag run, even if the race leader starts to pull away, they'll catch up to the back of the field in a very quick manner. You can see how small the racetrack is. If we get early cautions, Trey, then we line up single file to restart, and then last place is even closer to the race leader. So you're never getting away from traffic here, even if you are the one in the lead.
So I think that means that if we do get a green flag run, the key to winning this race, Joe, is going to be how you manage those lappers, right? But again, that is, even if we get to it, I trust these drivers, Joe. I trust them.
I trust them too, and hopefully they can live up to that trust and give us something, a really good racing show here tonight, rather than maybe a demolition derby like we've seen some Martinsville races in the past. We can only hope and pray, but under the lights, I think this is the first time we've actually ever had a Martinsville race under the lights on this channel. So this will be an exciting first for these drivers. They all want to win the first Martinsville night race on JRT, and we'll see which one can accomplish it. Well, Trey, the midseason tournament alive and well. We're into the semifinal round. 4 drivers remain, and those 4 are Laura Chung versus Chris Jericho and Bryce Egan versus Brian Rodriguez. So really, 3 of those, not really all that big of a surprise. Laura Chung is the top seed. You expect her to even get all the way to the final round. You have Brian Rodriguez, the 2nd seed. He's up there bound for the points lead with Laura Chung and Nathan Stapleton. And then Bryce Egan, the 6th seed. That's not all that big of a surprise. He did eliminate the 3rd seed, Nathan Stapleton, but the 6th seed, the 3rd seed, they're still pretty close. However, Trey, the big surprise of the final 4 is the 21st seed Chris Jericho making it in. He's eliminated Lathan Strickland, eliminated Mathis Wells. He then went and eliminated Jerry Chen. Here he is in the final 4, Trey, and all 4 drivers start inside the top 10. Rodriguez is on pole, Egan in 3rd, Chung in 4th, Jericho in 9th. So it's all to play for over these 100 laps for those 4 drivers.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing going into the semifinals is the momentum that Jericho has, right? I mean, after the stellar performance he had last week and going up against Laura Chung, I think you're going to need everything you can get. We know how strong that 79 is, but at the same time, we know how strong the 54 is nowadays, while he finally, hopefully, maybe broke that curse, right? So we're going to have to see how those 2 battle it out, Joe. It's yet another heavyweight matchup for Laura Chung, and that other battle, you can't shy too far away from it either, because at a track like this, anything can happen at any time.
Hey, you mentioned Jericho's momentum. He's led the most laps in 5 races this season, and he's now led the most laps of any driver this season. So he's just kind of racking up those laps led, and while it finally resulted in a win at Michigan, you have to think that maybe opens the floodgates for even more winning to come for the driver of the 54 for Toussaint Racing. But we'll have to see. There is a world where Tuki Toussaint could have his last 2 drivers remaining in the final round together. Then he knows he's at least won the tournament. It just depends on which driver wins the tournament. So I think Tuki Toussaint really rooting for Brian Rodriguez, Chris Jericho to both get beat their drivers that they're facing off against, and then get both of those team cars in the final round. And the chase is also heating up. Battle for the points lead. You want to be the points leader at the end of the regular season. There's bonus points on the line in terms of where you are inside the top 10 in points. And at the moment, there's only 6 points separating Nathan Stapleton in the points lead In third place, Laura Chung. In between them is Brian Rodriguez, 5 points back. Rodriguez's gap to Stapleton even smaller now at the start because he gets pole, he gets a few points there. And beyond that, the battle for the top 10 is super close. I think 7th place is now only 16 points clear of Jude Martinelli in the number 94, who's 11th in points. So there's about 4 drivers or so that are in a very close range to be inside the top 10 in points, and that could flip-flop throughout these last few regular season races. Matt Tuck is still 21 points back. That's big because the battle for the wild card is still on. Chris Jericho threw a whole wrench in things winning at Michigan. He moved up to 16th in points into the second wild card spot. He has it by 11 points over Eli Bright. We'll have to see, does that stand? Does Jericho continue to have some bad luck that maybe he was able to get rid of at Michigan? Does it come back to haunt him over these last 6 regular season races? And what does Matt Tuck do? We know the Vision Motorsports number 11 is capable of winning races, running inside the top 5, and leading laps. If he gets 21 points over these next 6 races over the drivers, 10th, 9th, 8th in points, could he bump a non-winner out to then make Eli Bright a wild card? Does he bump another winner out? We know Matt Tuck is a wild card no matter what happens because he won the All-Star race. The question is, does he move up inside the top 10? Does a non-winner fall out? Does a winner fall out? Or does anyone win a second race? Because remember, number of wins matters more than points. So if Eli Bright, Levi Shones win another race, they're in that wild card spot. So Trey, there's a lot to focus on over these next 6 regular season races. Battle for the points lead, battle for the top 10, and battle for the wild card. It's all on here in the DeWalt Cup Series.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be, Joe, we're having a lot of stuff to watch on a very short track with a lot of action. It's going to be a busy night for us.
Yes, it is. And the easy thing about the midseason tournament for us that we'll have to watch is that the spoilers are colored. So we could watch the red matchup between Brian Rodriguez and Bryce Egan, the yellow matchup between Laura Chung and Chris Jericho. Let's move on to the picks to win here tonight, Martinsville. We're getting ready to drop the green flag here for 100 laps of action. Trey, you got your second victory of the season. Chris Jericho delivered a lot better than what he did when I picked him at Charlotte, where he was on his way to win, and then lap traffic threw a wrench in that. But Jericho won, so that's your second victory of the season. Your gap is now 4 positions over me. You have an 8.5 average finish this season. Mine is a 12.5, so mine's nothing to laugh at. It's just you've been doing way too well, and it kind of makes it look really, really bad. So I get to go first here tonight at Martinsville, and I'm going to take the driver starting in third, Bryce Egan. I think he's going to win this race tonight. He won at a short track earlier this season at Richmond. I think he's going to get his third victory of the season, time for the most wins this season. He'll advance through into the final round in that Vision Motorsports number 18. Trey, who are you taking to win here tonight at Martinsville?
I'm going to go with the driver right on the outside of your pick, the 79 of Laura Chung, the number 1 seed in the tournament, facing the guy I just picked last week and got me a win. So, 2 wins in a row, Joe, doesn't sound too bad now, does it? It might just help me out a little bit more.
It might, so we'll have to see. Both our drivers starting on that second row. We'll see if one of them get to victory lane, and if not, which one of them finishes higher. Can they both finish up well, and which one of them advances, right? They're in opposite matchups. Will one of them advance, or will none of them advance? The field is rolling off. We look at our DeWalt track facts. This race is 100 laps, as mentioned. Really little to no banking in the corners, only 12 degrees. The fuel window is something to watch out for. It's 60 to 65 laps. It's a long fuel window. They can go well past the midway point. The question is, do any cautions come out and break that up? Do they have to play some different strategy, or does it stay green and they have to go the whole way on fuel? Here we go. Pace car is in 100 laps, about to get underway from the half-mile bull ring in Ridgeway, Virginia. Rodriguez and Max Davis on the front row. The green flag is waving for short track action on Sunday night at Martinsville. Well, Trey, we already see it. The bottom lane working well for Rodriguez and Egan. Davis gets in line. Joshua Cox is up to 4th. Laura Chung down in line, trying to get in front of Justin Zaidel. Did not get too close to Chris Jericho. Her battle in the midseason tournament. The front, I would say about 10 or so, get clear in single file, trying to mind their P's and Q's at the front of the field, as Rodriguez trying to log laps and lead them here, trying to get away from his midseason rival, Bryce Egan, who has his teammate Max Davis, who's not yet won a race this season. If Davis were to win here tonight, he would make Vision Motorsports the first team to get all 3 drivers into victory lane.
Yeah, definitely. If you were on the outside there, that was your number 1 mission, was to get to the bottom as quickly as possible. As you can see, the 99 missed the corner in the 3 and 4. That's going to allow Laura Chung to make that pass pretty simple. Now she has her eyes set on the front 3 here. more specifically the back of Max Davis, if she doesn't overdrive it, she'll be just all right.
She got a little bit high off that corner. Maybe he was just trying to get a better exit off. See Bryce Egan, he's hugging the curb. Rodriguez running about a lane higher, so different ways to run here at the Martinsville Speedway. Rodriguez wants some grip up high. Egan trying to wrap around the curb down low. Looks like it's working for Egan at the moment. The question is, though, here, Trey, it's going to be hard to pass at a place like Martinsville. You're all running pretty similar speeds. Corner speeds are slow. Can he find a way to get by the guy when you get to him? Egan is looking low off of turn 4. These two red spoiler cars going at it. Rodriguez stays clear, but Egan looks to be a little bit faster at this stage, and Max Davis may be faster than both. Look to make it a three-way battle for the lead. Laura Chung getting away from the battle for 5th between Justin Zeidel and Joshua Cox. The battle for the lead. Rodriguez slides up nearly into the asphalt. Here comes Bryce Egan to the inside. They're going to be side-by-side completion of lap 6. Egan with the preferred inside lane. Rodriguez up into the asphalt this time. And there goes the Vision Motorsports number 18 of Bryce Egan through to the lead early on at Martinsville.
My question was going to be, do you contact maybe between those two? We'll have to see. That 16 dove it in there, and Joe, he might be setting up the 18 here. But I was going to ask, do you think this 18 and 62 are more focused on battling for the lead or each other for that tournament?
Oh, I mean, when you see the same color spoiler on the guy in front of you, your eyes have to get big, right? And you're saying, oh, I have to beat that guy. And, I mean, this whole week they've probably been thinking, we have to beat each other, we have to beat each other. Well, there goes Max Davis, not in the tournament. He got eliminated in a shocking round 1 elimination. But there he goes to the lead, looking for that first victory of the season in the Advanced Auto Parts 500 at Martinsville. Rodriguez clears through to 2nd as well. Egan back to 3rd, but in line. Laura Chung gaining in 4th as Davis climbs the hill. And here comes Rodriguez looking low off the corner. They might be side by side again for the lead. Davis gets a good run. Rodriguez there looking low. And again, Davis up the track. Rodriguez about a lane lower. They stay side by side. Davis pulls clear. Jericho is up to 5th. Mathis Wells up to 6th. Good run for that Land Motorsports driver. Zeidel back to 7th. Riley Spurgeon now 8th. Burnett now 9th. And Joshua Cox back to 10th. He'll lose that spot to Keegan Thompson as well as Mathis Wells is going to get the spot from Chris Jericho. So I thought Jericho was going to be able to pull away. You know, Mathis Wells and Land Motorsports, they haven't been all that great this season. Jericho has, but so far, Trey, Mathis Wells is shocking some drivers up inside the top 5 here at that number 39.
Yeah, definitely. He's going to get crossed over there by Jericho. He's going to look back to the inside. But, yeah, definitely that 39 is showing a lot of speed right now. We'll have to see if they can find their ways up towards these front 4. But with the battling, it's only going to make them separated. As you see, the 39 of Wells might have overdriven that corner. But as we're looking back up front, Joe, these 4 are still duking it out for the lead here. Max Davis trying to get it back here from Rodriguez. But, I mean, Joe, these tires, they got to be taking a beating right now, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Luckily for them, the tires are pretty hard here. There's not too much tire fall off. They only give up about half a second over a 60 to 65 lap run, so not too much. Obviously, and it's different in short track world because lap time is shorter, so technically, you know, half a second could be equivalent to like 1 second at an intermediate track because, you know, it's just ratios. That's how it works. Well, Max Davis got to enjoy the lead for a lap. Rodriguez took it immediately back. I do want to bring up that our cameras caught just a few laps go down the backstretch. Max Davis is like a lane from the inside wall. I don't know quite what happened there, but he kept 2nd place and he got to the lead just after. So I think the car is just fine, but these front 3 have to wake up because welcome to the party for Laura Chung in the number 79. She's back up to the front now to 3rd place. Remember, she started 4th, fell back to 5th, got quickly in line, and now here she is. She's run down the front 3 as they kept battling, and these two are going to be battling all night long, either until one of them drops out of the race or until one of them sees the checkered flag first. Bryce Egan and Brian Rodriguez are going at it, duking it out, bumper to bumper, and you can already see, Trey, they are catching up to the back of the field. We're only 16 laps into this race, and lap traffic is in the windshield of the race leaders.
So the fun thing for Laura Chung here, right, is that, one, she sees the lead in front of her, but all at the same time, she could see her next opponent in front of her here. So, you know, maybe she plays a little bit of a mind games, you know, maybe help the 18 past 6-2 a little bit, maybe help 6-2 keep in front of the 18, you know, kind of, if you're in charge of your own battle, why not maybe persuade the next battle?
Exactly. At this moment, she has about 3 seconds in hand over Chris Jericho. So maybe you do play some games with those two in front, and you say, "Hey, boys, I'm gonna be the guy or the girl you're battling next week in Atlanta for the mid-season tournament championship." But obviously still a long way to go. A lot can happen here at Martinsville, but at this moment, maybe it is fun for Laura Chung to try and play around with them. As Bryce Egan has tried to get to Rodriguez. He's caught him. He's been on his bumper for the last 5 or so laps. Hasn't been able to pass. These front 4, though, have gotten away as they keep battling this 3-way battle for 5th. pretty entertaining, but not good for their chances of trying to run down the front four. Jericho against Wells is going to get 5th back. Zeidel's going to get 6th back from Mathis Wells. So we'll have to see now, can Jericho start to pull away as they battle behind, and maybe he can just run some qualifying laps here. Keegan Thompson up to 8th. Jude Martinelli trying to break his way inside the top 10 in points. He was 5 points behind Gabe Willard entering, and as they run, as he gets to 8th place, Willard's back in 13th. Those two would be tied for 10th place at the cut line, so that would be big news there, as Riley Spurgeon, who currently rounds out the top 10, also one of those drivers just above the top 10 in the points. Joshua Cox, who's in 11th to Matthew Burnett. Here comes Gabe Willard looking for 12th and trying to get points off of Jude Martinelli. Tegan Fox for OSC Racing having an impressive front. She qualified well, and she's keeping the track position up inside the top 15. This is a team that's last in the owner's points, and a driver who's down at the bottom of the barrel as well in points is for the lead. Bryce Egan took it away in turns 1 and 2 from Brian Rodriguez and brings Laura Chung to second with them. So stuff is changing at the front, but it's still the same four. Egan, now Chung to second, Rodriguez, Davis, Jericho still about 3 seconds back, but he's pulled away by a second over that continuing battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th.
All right, Joe, I mentioned it. The big thing that's going to win you this race is whether or not we get the lap traffic, and we are at the tail end of this field. How are these leaders going to be able to manage everyone else and at the same time keep the lead? We're going to look 4 or 3 wide there off that corner. I can tell you for a fact, not going to work out the way you think it is.
No. It looks like it's a wide enough track to make it work. It's not. You will not be able to make 3 wide work without someone crashing. And we've seen, earlier this season at Charlotte, lap cars can wreck with lead lap cars. In fact, they could wreck with the leaders. So these guys have to, Bryce Egan and all of them, they have to be careful. And this is something that Chris Jericho wanted to see. He wanted to see these guys catch up to lap traffic in a hurry because, yeah, their cars are fast enough to pass. You don't want to take too many risks. You don't want to dive bomb a guy. You want to just wait for them to get out of the way or make a mistake. And in doing so, your lap times are slowing by a few tenths, and Jericho can start to close in that 54 if they keep behind last place Ryan Wilson or Chris Keselowski, Angel Gutierrez. These are drivers that they aren't all that fast. See right here, Egan trying to get a nose on Ryan Wilson. Might be able to maybe just show the nose down low and say, listen, I'm here, move out of my way. Big C, that lap tray, Jericho gained 3 tenths, all because they were stuck down with this number 48 car. So if it keeps up like this and they keep, tiptoeing around these lap down cars, Jericho can make it a 5-car race, and then we have 4 of the 5 drivers that are in the midseason tournament.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing that makes these lap cars different than the regular ones we've seen is that these guys have no damage to them, right? So they are at their full capacity of how fast they can go. And another thing is that they're all single filed out. So they're going to be running that bottom line, the preferred racing group, which is just going to make it harder for these leaders to get around them. So these leaders are going to have to rely on one of 2 things. One, either the lapper in front of them makes a mistake, pushes high, and you can take advantage of that. Or 2, is that you try to show these guys or these lappers that you're the leader, you're faster, and try to force them into a mistake, right? And get around them that way. But so far, they're kind of just biding their time, which isn't hurting them too much. The only thing Bryce Egan did not like to see is that Lauren Chung got past that 48 just as quickly as he did.
Yep, exactly. Once the 18 moved the 48 up, Lauren Chung was close enough to make it work. Unfortunately for Rodriguez, he wasn't, neither was Max Davis. So they're stuck by the 48 at the moment. The good news for them is that Egan and Lauren Chung aren't up there passing other lap cars too. So they're kind of staying decently close enough. Once they get by this 48 car, they'll be right back in it. But they need to get by that 48 first. Laura Chung had a look at Bryce Egan off turn 2, but wasn't quite close enough to make the move, and they stay single file at the moment. Want to give a shout out. Jude Martinelli is doing a great job moving through the field. He's up to 6th, so just like last race at Michigan, moved through the field early, got himself into a good position for pit stops, and then maintained track position all the way to the checkered flag. So Martinelli trying to do much of the same here tonight at Martinsville, just as Idell there is looking for 6th place. Mathis Wells still inside the top 10. Gabe Willard's now up to 11th. There's Joshua Cox from Crown Junior, Philip Torres. Great run for Jack Haas through the field. He started pretty poorly here tonight around mid-pack. He's up to 15th now. It's kind of been like that lately for Jack Haas. He just kind of runs mid-pack, around 15th or so, take those top 15s, and he's trying to just point his way into the chase at the moment, get to those final 8 races, and then start to set the world on fire from there. Good run for Tyler Belladonna, Fitzwater Australia Racing, much like OSC Racing, a team that has not had much success this season. And here we see one of the Fitzwater's cars up inside the top 20, Jacob Miller there. Nathan Stapleton, again, a struggling night for the driver of this number 75. Just like Michigan, you say ninth place at Michigan was a struggling day for him, but it was compared to how his season's gone. And here tonight, he started, 16th. He's running 19th, Trey.
Yeah, I mean, that's just going to happen with how these seasons go. You can be on top of the world for a quarter of the season, and all of a sudden you're going to start to go through a little bit of a downgrade and struggle for a while until you can get yourself back up there. But we'll have to see what can happen as we look through the rest of the field. Matt Tuck here, not the run he is looking for either, sitting 26th at the moment and just kind of figuring out what's going on with his car, trying to make his way through this field, Joe. But sitting back this far into it, it's going to be tougher and tougher as it goes.
Yeah, there are some big names that are back here. Nathan Stapleton just inside the top 20. Matt Tuck now 25th. And Jerry Chen started back here, and he's not made any progress as well. He's back in 29th, going for 28th on Noah Brady. So, Jerry Chen, a driver at the beginning of the season, we talked about championship favorite. And as of late, Southern Cross Racing had been kind of down. They picked it up last race at Michigan. Jerry Chen finished runner-up by less than a tenth to Chris Jericho. But here tonight, struggling again at a short track for Jerry Chen, that number 36. See Johnny Cox back here with Noah Brady. And they have Drew Webb. Bruno Diacono, who moved up from last on the grid. Cam Wright Jr. Lathan Strickland is struggling as well. One of those drivers that has some chase hopes. He's close enough. If stuff were to happen in front, he'd be able to pounce, but he's not having a night that would help him in that regard in 35th. Jordan Stout also struggling in that number 66. And then we go all the way to the race leaders. The front five are now in a line together, and they're bringing Justin Zeidel and the others as well. So how about this? Zeidel's there. Mathis Wells is there. The front 10 tray are catching right back up because these guys are taking their time around lap traffic. They've only lapped right now Ryan Wilson. Alex Sanvitali is 41st, so they've only lapped the 48 car. There are still 41 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, well, yeah, 100%. I mean, it's that game of got to play the cards right here with these lappers. You essentially got to play chess. You can't play checkers at a track like this, right? You got to be able to methodically think about your next move, because if you make the wrong mistake, Joe, you're going to lose your position to the person behind you here, and possibly more with how tightly we are racing. So these 18 of Bryce Egan is doing a good job as we speak, but how much longer can he hold up, and how long till Laura Chung or Brian Rodriguez makes an attempt here to make a passage? We saw 62 might be trying to go for second place right now.
He's looking for it, but Laura Chung doing a good job holding the bottom. Like you mentioned, everyone's just kind of holding the bottom at the moment, so it's hard to make those passes work. No one's coming up off the bottom groove, and you don't want to get into someone and make them angry, and then, as a lead lap car, you're getting into it with a lap down car and stuff like that. So Egan's taking it carefully, and right now the drivers behind him are allowing him to do it. They're not pressuring him to make a move to get by, Alex Sanvitali, Joe Hendry, Robert Ashford, and Chris Keselowski. They're all content running. You can see right there, the top 10, about 3 seconds separate them from Bryce Egan back to Riley Spraytube in the 10th position. So we'll see at some point, does something happen to these front 10 guys that allow them to make moves around each other. See Ryan Wilson still in the middle of them as well. He's kind of separating the top 5 from the back half of the top 10. So it's fascinating to see, can Zeidel make a move around Ryan Wilson? Can Mathis Wells try and pressure Zeidel to do the same? And do these guys start to get help enough to where 11th place Gabe Willard, 12th place Philip Torres, 13th Jack Haas can start to close in? The 77 and the 23 look pretty fast. The last time we saw them, they were back around 15th or so. And here they are now. Torres is going to be 11th, and Jack Haas could be 12th. So these two cars are someone to watch out for. Do they catch up to the back of the top 10 and start to make moves and start to pressure these guys to make moves themselves? Well, Philip Torres was maybe thinking about it until he went up the racetrack, and Gabe Willard's looking back to his inside for the 11th spot. And I think might be able to get back in line there in front, and it looks like he will. So Torres will keep 11th, Willard will keep 12th, Jack Haas still in 13th. Further back, Joshua Cox up the track out of the groove. Here comes Nathan Stapleton, that's for 17th place. And then 16th, Jacob Miller just in front of him. Galway Automotive cars are having good nights for where they qualify. That's a team where normally qualifying they do pretty well in. Here tonight, it was bad starting spots for all three of them, but now all three of them find themselves up inside the top 20 as they run. And still pit stops to come, Trey. We're not even halfway yet. We're nearing the midway point of this race. Brian Wilson shuffled high as the lap car, but pit stops are coming around the corner, Trey. We're about 15 or so laps away, and the question is, when do you pit? And when you do pit, what do you do on pit road? And can you perform enough on pit road? See right here, the leaders are starting a mad frenzy to get by lap traffic here.
You were thinking what I was thinking, Joe. I was about to bring it up. We are just about halfway, and pit stops are going to be a big thing here. Do you undercut? Can you even undercut with the lap times and especially the lap traffic, right? It's not like you're going to come out of pit road and have a bunch of track to gain a bunch of time. You're going to be right back into the middle of things, right? So what is the strategy that these drivers are going to play? Is someone going to pit sooner, possibly see an advantage from that, or is you going to try to hold it out and go for a clean pit road so it's not congested? And the big thing too is getting on and off pit road, coming out of traffic and going right back into it. You got to be careful with that, because if you come out into a bad spot, Joe, you're going to lose a bunch of time and possibly a bunch of spots with that.
And do you even want to pit early in the event a caution comes out? You're on pit road here, and you're under a caution flag. A caution comes out after you make a pit stop. You're probably going to be a lap down, and you're going to get a wave around to get off of 2 down. But you're still going to be probably trapped a lap down unless you're one of the leaders that had it. Then you'll be tail end of the lead lap. So I don't know. It's a fascinating thing to watch out for. If this thing happens under the green flag, do you want to pit earlier? Do you want to try and stay out as late as possible, try and catch that caution? We saw it at Vancouver. There was a caution under a green flag pit cycle, and it shaped up the whole running order and allowed Brian Rodriguez to victory lane that day. Well, here now, 3 cars have broken away because they've gotten through the lap traffic. It's Egan, Chung, and Rodriguez have done a great job getting through lap traffic. Davis, Jericho, and the others have not. So now it's a 3-car race at the moment, and they have some clean racetrack in front, and now Bryce Egan's starting to kind of mess up. He's getting pressure from Laura Chung in that number 79.
All right, well, they got a little bit of clean track, Joe, so if they're going to come in, this might be the time, right around this time to do it, because there's plenty of space between them and the next lapper, so you don't got to worry about that. But is it the right time? When do you want to come down pit road? And in Laura Chung's case, would you rather have the lead when you do it?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be fascinating to watch. And Laura Chung, she might actually have the lead when she does it. She is pressuring Bryce Egan.
There she goes.
She's running lower. Here she goes, and that was great grip to leave lower than Bryce Egan and stay to the inside. She dove it in. I see how hard both those guys dove it into the corner. They were not lifting until the other did, and it's just great. It's fun to see at Martinsville the long straightaways and see them at the end just slam down the brakes and watch the front of the car just drop to the ground.
I am just now noticing, Joe, 10 laps ago, if even, the top, 6 were all right with each other, and now there's a 3-second gap between 3rd and 4th? Yeah. I mean, these 3 have separated themselves, and it happened in a blink of an eye. I'm at a loss for words. I'm just now realizing that.
Yeah, a switch flipped all of a sudden, and these front 3 were like, we need to get by lap traffic now. I don't know if they caught the guys sleeping behind or what, or if they just didn't have good enough cars to do what the front 3 did, but they're going to have to play some strategy on pit road to do this, as now Egan and Rodriguez run together again 1-2. The highest finisher of them advances through in the mid-season tournament. The other goes home empty-handed. And here is Egan versus Rodriguez. Laura Chung, once again, she's been in control of that matchup against Chris Jericho all night long. As these two go side by side for the lead. Egan up top, Rodriguez down low. Look at them drag race to the line. 1/1000th of a second, Bryce Egan led that lap by.
All right, Laura, you could just push one, see what happens, and maybe it helps you out. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Rodriguez back to the lead now. Laura Chung there in second now, gets by Bryce Egan, and pit stops are looming. We're within 5 laps of pit stops starting, and these front 3 have built a gap up over 4th place Max Davis by about 3.5 seconds. There goes Laura Chung for the lead again on Brian Rodriguez. So Egan's starting to fall off this battle a little bit. Did he use up his tires, or is he just back there just kind of surveying? Well, at the moment, Laura Chung is saying, I'm getting out of here. She just pulled away. She got by and just matted the gas, got away from Brian Rodriguez using the bottom lane, and now she has a little bit of a gap over the driver of the 62, who's going to undercut. Rodriguez is coming in early.
I was about to say, Joe, this might be the biggest lead we've seen all night. So
Caution's out!
Oh, no.
Caution is out!
Oh, no.
And it happened on the backstretch. Justin Zeidel is one of them. He was running inside the top 10, and Chris Jericho's also on pit road.
So what does this do for the 62 and the 54?
Well, if their pit stops are fast enough, they can get out there. They were on pit road when the caution came out. Keegan Thompson has damage in the 6. He's one of those drivers inside the top 10. Philip Torres also damaged.
Careful.
Can the 54 and the 62 stand the lead lap? If they do, they can maybe leapfrog these guys and be 1-2. It's just going to be, are their pit stops fast enough to do it? Here comes all the lead lap cars onto pit road now.
Wow. So you got to think that maybe it was a pit entry thing that could have caused.
Yep.
The 62 looks like he's going to be perfectly fine, as well as the 54, Joe. So I think they just got.
They need to get going, though. They need to beat these guys to pit
exit.
exit.
Oh, is that what it is? I thought it was a pace car.
Yeah, well, they beat the pace car to stand the lead lap. If they want the lead, though,
Oh,
They're going to
I
need to
see.
beat these guys to pit exit. And, I mean, it's a short track. They can get around here fast. The problem is,
Where are
can
they?
There they are.
Jinx.
Oh, it's... Oh, my
Oh,
gosh!
no, she
Lord
got
Chung just did it. Now, you have to hope she wasn't speeding, because I'm sure she was told to go, 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 in the highest pitched voice she's probably ever heard on the radio.
You think there would have been a game of inches of cars that were on track and on pit road at the same time?
I know, and here are the lap down cars pitting. So,
oh my goodness.
now the good news for these guys that are maybe still on pit road and could have fallen a lap down is that pit road speed is actually faster than pace car speed, just that, you know, an issue doesn't happen where maybe you're on pit road a little bit too
You're in the
long.
wall. Get out of the wall.
Yeah,
there you go.
Bruno got run to the wall by his teammate there, Angel Gutierrez. That was interesting.
You got to hurry up and beat the pace car. Oh, yep, there it is. That's why you get stopped. Yeah. Where's our guy at? Is it we don't have a guy anymore there?
No, it's automated here. We have lights, but there are a few guys that are going to be on a lap down at the back of the field. Noah Brady's going to get waved around. He's still going to be on the lead lap in 34th. But we'll go check out what happened. 35th, excuse me. Jack Haas is back in 34th. He's been on pit road. He has some damage, looks like, as well. So a big mix-up. Zidell was running 6th, I believe, at the time of the crash. He's now out of this race. So is fellow Torres. We'll go check out what happened. First caution of the night came right as pit stops were starting here in the Advanced Auto Parts 500 at Martinsville.
So we were mistaken. Not a pit road entry thing. It was a 2 wide turn 3 wide scenario here. Zidell runs into Keselowski, and Wells essentially just has nowhere to go at this point. He's going to turn Zidell into the inside wall, and Joe, this is the part we don't want to see here. Is going to come back up into the track. Keegan Thompson does a relatively good job of not hitting him, but unfortunately Torres nowhere to go. He's going to smack into the front of it, collecting the 27. Jack Haas just misses it, and Burnett's going to squeeze through a gap that somehow was there, and Keegan Thompson, that's where he gets his damage from, just a small tap there. But, Joe, that could have been a much, much bigger incident. And we were talking, and that probably could not have been better timed for when everything went down.
Yeah, exactly. If this happens a lap or two later, half the field is going to be trapped a lap down, have to get wave around. Really, no one is now. Noah Brady's on the tail end of the lead lap, but he'll get waved back around. And the running order, the 62 and the 54 gained a little bit. Otherwise, it's just about how it was entering into pit road. So go check out what happened again at full speed, and then some pit road issues that happened for Jack Haas and Roberto Crown Jr. So here it is at full speed. Zidell kind of missed the corner up into Chris Keselowski. I think the 57 may be mad about the contact. Ran the 38 down, not knowing the 39 was down there. Philip Torres wallops Zidell.
Oh, goodness.
Go. A lot of guys missing. And then you can see guys back there kind of getting loose out of control, knowing there's a crash up in front. But Trey, the wrecking is not over. We have some pit road shenanigans that went on for drivers like Jack Haas and Roberto Crown Jr.
Yeah, it a unique scenario. Can we say? Look at these guys. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they're all trying to get down the pit road as quick as possible because, as mentioned, you can easily fall a lap down here if your pit stop takes a little bit too long. So everyone's trying to get into pit road with the leaders as quick as possible. And right here's Jack Haas. He was running well, as mentioned. He made his way through the field in a very nice manner. Was up inside about the top dozen, and here he is. It's a normal pit stop, Trey, and a pretty good pit stop at that.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, the pit crew did an absolute fantastic job doing it nice, quickly, and no issue at all. But surprisingly, it's the exit of the pit stop. Watch the 8 car coming down pit road, small tap there, but it's going to be with the 20. Force him to the inside, and all of a sudden, oh my goodness. I mean, how do you avoid something like that?
Yeah, the only way you can avoid is the 8's running at the back. I feel like at that point, the crew chief or the spotter should say, let the 20 go. They're finishing their pit stop, right? They're running up inside the top 10, top 15. We're kind of back there in the 30s. That's normally, in my opinion, what we've seen, common courtesy type thing. That just didn't happen there on pit road. And, I mean, it doesn't have to happen. It's just something that you would hope would happen if you're, EKH Enterprises and Roberto Crown Jr.
Unwritten code, if you will, right? Unwritten rule of pit stops there, but unfortunately it caught, oh my goodness, it almost happened twice to the 20 car.
Well, you know what? Evan Hunter, his team had been so great this season at finishing laps, and it finally caught up to them. Zidell is going to be out of this race, and now Crown Jr. is out of this race. That's 2 of the EKH Enterprises car. They have Riley Spurtube left. We'll see if he can try and get to victory lane for the first time this season, while this lady, Laura Chung, Her competition has just gotten stiffer because Chris Jericho's going to be right behind her for the restart. We'll see how it goes. The top 4 drivers are all in the mid-season tournament. Tune in for these final 35 or so laps. It's going to be a wild one for Martinsville. Back here on JRTV, 34 laps to go at the Martinsville Speedway in the Advanced Auto Parts 500. Laura Chung leads this race, looking to win her 4th race of the season. 3 cars are done for the night. They include Justin Zidell, Philip Torres, and Roberto Crown Jr. That's big there. Those are drivers trying to get up into the top 10 in points, or trying to get a wild card spot along the lines of that, trying to make their way into the chase. A few cars a lap down include Robert Ashford, Chris Keselowski, Ryan Wilson, Alex Vitali, Joe Hendry. They were all lapped before the caution even came out. So at the front, it's Chung, Rodriguez, Jericho, Egan. The 4 drivers in the midseason tournament are here at the top 4, with Davis Martinelli 5th and 6th. Wells still 7th. Spurley to Miller and Thompson the top 10. And Rodriguez going to try and help his teammate get by his contender in the midseason tournament. There goes Rodriguez, as Jericho was really low off the corner.
Yeah, I don't know what that was all about, but Joe, look who he has in front of him right now.
Yeah, Laura Chung, and this is something to watch for, is that it's single-file restarts. You can't pass to the inside before the start-finish line. If you do it, you get a black flag. You come down pit road. I think only Joe Hendry actually got
65. Yeah,
only Joe Hendry. That's actually surprising. Normally you see a lot more do that, but only Hendry.
Oh, he's actually getting a pit stop.
Yeah, so he might have actually had issues because it's just a stop and go if you do that. So maybe no one actually had that happen, which would be a first in my experience at Martinsville. But
hey, professionals, Joe, professionals.
Yep. DeWalt Cup Series professionals. Well, here we go. The professionals at the front are trying to beat each other to advance through in the midseason tournament. Laura Chung did not like losing the lead, and Brian Rodriguez apparently didn't want to keep it. He goes up the racetrack. Laura Chung's going to get through to the lead. Now Jericho needs to get by his teammate now, but Rodriguez doesn't want that because Bryce Egan's right behind Chris Jericho. Well, there goes the 79. There goes the 54. Now we have yellow versus yellow and red versus red at the front of the field.
We're good. All right, sorry, I was looking at the 3 wide, Joe, last time. It didn't work out too well. All right, Joe, we got one battle for the lead. And for the tournament, the next battle for 3rd place and for the tournament.
Oh, this is outstanding stuff. And for Chris Jericho, all night long, he's been behind Laura Chung. Well, here we are, final 30 laps, and he sees the yellow spoiler finally. He's not been able to see it all night long. He's going to look to the inside. Jericho versus Chung to advance through. Egan's gotten by Rodriguez now as a teammate between himself and the 62. The question is, I don't think Max Davis is going to stay there because he wants to win his first ever DeWalt Cup Series race and pad his chase cushion. Well, these 2 yellow spoilers are going at it. Remember, last week at Michigan, Jericho had to battle all the way to the wire against Jerry Chen to advance through. Well, here tonight, he's going to have to battle all the way to the wire to advance through for Laura Chung. He leads his first lap of the night, but Chung sends it deep on the outside.
Joe, I mentioned it. 1 win, that curse is broken. Could he be looking for 2 back-to-back? And more importantly, he's going to go to that final for that tournament. Joe, we have a good amount of laps to settle it out, but Laura Chung is stuck on the outside. She is going to lose more spots than just the first place.
Yeah, Bryce Egan getting aggressive in the 18, trying to get up here and get his 3rd victory of the season. Max Davis wanting his first victory of the season, getting aggressive on Laura Chung, who's going to try and get down right here, but Max Davis has a nose to the inside. I think some contact between the 79 and the 16. Chung runs wide. She's back to 4th and maybe 5th because here comes Rodriguez, and here comes Evan Hunter's lone bullet, Riley Spurley-Tube, up to 6th and going for 5th on Laura Chung.
Whatever they did to her car, Joe, she does not like it. She is falling back. She had the fastest car before pit stops, but afterwards, Joe, it looks like she has put an anchor into that thing. It is dropping back. Finally, she's going to get to the inside, but the battle for the lead is not over. Bryce Egan wants it back from Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho does not want to look at the back of another car unless it is a lapper right now, but, I mean, with how fast this 18's been all race, it's going to be hard to defend it.
Yeah, I think Bryce Egan has maybe been the dominant car of the night, the best car of the night. And we'll have to see, can he get to the lead and then start to pull away? Because we know Jericho, he's been fast tonight, but he's never been in the lead contention until that pit stop break, where he was on pit road when the caution flag came out. And got himself track position with his teammate, Brian Rodriguez. Well, here we go. Egan's going to look low and get by Jericho as they come off forward. They'll drag race to the line. 23 laps to go at Martinsville. Egan leads the lap by about 100th. Jericho up into the asphalt, out of the concrete, surrenders the lead, but will fall in line in 2nd place, so he'll stay close enough to Egan and not fall back to Laura Chung's front bumper. As Egan now climbs the hill, here comes Jericho looking back to the inside. And all this is doing, Trey, is bringing Max Davis and Brian Rodriguez right back into the thick of the battle.
It's like, Joe, when these cars get clean air, they can't hold the bottom anymore. They just overdrive as we are catching up to the 23, Joe. We were talking about it. during the caution, will this damage hinder the 23's performance? And it definitely looks like it is. I mean, he is well off the pace, and more importantly, what is it going to do with this lead battle? Who is it going to hold up, and who is it going to give advantage to, as they're going to be side by side? Hopefully they figure it out before they catch the 23.
I thought they were going to be 3 wide. Max Davis wants a win, and I would not be shocked if he were to be the one to send it to the inside 3 wide to try and make a move work. Well, 20 laps to go. Time is running out. Jericho gets by for the lead. Now he has to get by the lap car of Jack Haas.
Going to get held up.
Davis wants a win in the DeWalt Cup Series. Jericho slides off the corner, gets the inside of Jack Haas. There was nearly contact between the 54 and the 23. Egan has fallen back to third and now just 1 spot clear of his midseason tournament battle with Brian Rodriguez. So Jericho leads. Davis looking for the lead and the win. Looks to the inside with 19 laps to go. They're all getting by Jack Haas, who's doing a courtesy move, getting up high, getting out of the way. The front 6, I think, are going to get low and get by. Good run through the field for Jacob Miller. As Haas actually gets down for Laura Chung. That is not what she wanted to see. But for the lead, that's what Laura Chung wanted to see. Get that yellow spoiler back to her. Here comes Max Davis. Never won in the DeWalt Cup Series in the DeWalt car. Is tonight the night the 16 clears and leads.
And the big thing about this one, Joe, is that the front 4 are almost nose to tail with each other. So if Jericho is not able to hit the bottom like he wants to, he's going to fall back more. Almost contact with the 18.
That was close. He got so close to the 16, had to lift, and Egan was already down to the bottom. They were nearly in a 3-wide sandwich. Now it's a Vision Motorsports 1-2 with Davis over Egan. Jericho in third. Rodriguez needs to get to Egan. Laura Chung needs to get to Jericho. Sprue in the mix as well in 5th place in case the front 4 tangle. And these two teammates, they could tangle. We've seen Vision Motorsports have contact this season, and with 16 to go, they're running nose to tail for the lead. Want to give an update? Mathis Wells still hanging tough in 7th. He's been there all night long. It's been purely on speed. Jacob Miller's moved up nicely through the field to 8th place. Keegan Thompson has damage on that 6th car. He's still in 9th. For Tucson Racing. And Zachary DeLello started so poorly tonight. He's up in 10th. Matthew Burnett's still up here. Nathan Stapleton and Matt Tuck the highest they've been all night, while Jude Martinelli's dropped back in the 94 car. Jerry Chen up inside the top 20 now. So, same with Ludovic Charette and William Seaman. So positions are changing around, but at the front of the field, it's Vision Motorsports versus Vision Motorsports with 2 Tucson cars waiting in the wings, 3rd and 4th.
All right, Joe, 13 laps to go. Are we close enough to lap traffic that it's going to be an issue come in the closing 10 laps? It might be close. If I'm going to be honest, Joe, we might catch him within 5 laps to go, and don't think that's good for the leaders as he misses the corner yet again, Joe. Again, it seems like once these guys get out front, their car just plows.
Wow, that thing drifted into the corner. It looked like it had no grip at all. I think there's just nerves getting out front and not really having a reference car. Right? You
very nicely done to get in line, though.
Yeah, he's looking for a crossover here. He said, listen, I'll let you get the lead, but I really want to win this race. And Bryce Egan, he can't play around too much. He maybe would have been better off staying in 2nd there because I don't think Jericho wants to play around. He's beating Laura Chung. But Bryce Egan, he can't trust a teammate to stay behind him, especially a teammate that's not won yet this season. So as Davis looks to the inside, Egan might fall back to Rodriguez here. This is in a bad position for the 18 car. 11 laps to go. Here we go, these 2 red spoilered cars, side by side, and Rodriguez is by Egan with 11 to go to advance into the final round.
I was going to say, if you're Rodriguez, you force that issue. You send your car into that corner. Make sure you get to the bottom of the 18 here as he's going to fall back even more. Now, Spurley Tube is to his inside. He's going to fall all the way back to Laura Chung, Joe. He's going to fall into 6th place here if it stays like this. And Laura Chung and Egan are going to be in the same situation where they're going to need to drive the quickest laps of their life to make up all these spots here to get to their rivals, but it's going to be a hard task to do.
Laura Chung to 5th, Egan back to 6th. 9 laps to go at Martinsville. Max Davis has a little bit of a gap over Chris Jericho. Can he keep the gap is the question. Jericho closes in through 1 and 2. A great corner for the 54. Rodriguez there in 3rd, just kind of watching on. Riley Spurgeon wants to win badly in 4th as well. For the lead, Jericho looking for back-to-back wins. Down to the inside with 8 laps to go. He has a fender alongside the 16. Davis, though, drives in deep into the corner. Jericho a little bit better on the gas through the middle of the corner, and the 54 clears and leads at Martinsville. Can Davis look for another patented down-in-line crossover move? He couldn't quite get clear. The 54 still to his inside. Now it's a Tucson 1-2 as Davis gets passed by Jericho, and now Jericho's teammate Rodriguez. 7 laps to go at Martinsville. It is heating up here at the front of the field.
All right, Joe, these front 2, they got 2 things away on their mind right now. 1, how hard do they race for a race win? 2, how hard do they race each other to stay in position for a tournament win, right? I mean, you got to juggle it, Joe. What's more important to you at this point? Because right now, That 79 going to make her way up to 4th place, and she's got eye on one thing only. That's that yellow spoiler that's 3 positions ahead of her.
Tuki Toussaint right now is pacing back and forth. He's like, please, guys, please just stay how it is. Please just stay how it is. Well, Riley Sprotube, he's not yet won this season. He wants a win for the first ever time for EKH Enterprises. He'll look for second on Rodriguez. If he does that, can Laura Chung fill the hole to put Rodriguez back to Bryce Egan? That's the big question. He is looking to the inside. I think he's there as well. Coming back around to 4 to go. Question, does he have time to catch up to Chris Jericho and start to pull a gap as they battle for second place? 4 to go for Jericho. The big problem for Rodriguez, he might fall back to Bryce Egan because there goes Sprotube through to second place, but he has a second to catch up in just 3 laps.
And I don't think lap traffic, Joe, is going to be an issue for the 54 at all. I mean, they're just too far out in front at this point, and it's not really going to matter. So this 28 is going to have to get up there on pure speed, Joe. It looks like he does have the car underneath him, but the question is time. Does he have enough time to do it?
Yeah, his car may have came alive a little bit too late. Oh no, he's low on fuel though!
Oh no! Oh no! I did not know this was going to be an issue, Joe.
Or he has a mechanical issue. It could be a mechanical issue, but Riley Sprotube has to pit. Oh, others are pitting. They were short on fuel. They didn't take enough fuel. Oh my gosh!
Oh, contact on pit road.
Can Jericho make it? Remember, he was one of the first cars into pit road. He's staying out there behind Jack Haas. So are the front 4. So Jericho looking to advance through in the tournament and looking for a second straight win. Laura Chung could put Brian Rodriguez back to Bryce Egan. Jericho takes the white flag.
Just clutch it. You got enough time and space. You just got to clutch it around this track as Laura Chung goes to second place.
And Bryce Egan is side by side with Rodriguez. Oh. This is to advance in the final round of the midseason tournament. Egan has the inside lane. Jericho comes off the corner. He'll win at Martinsville. And Bryce Egan in the last lap pass makes it over Brian Rodriguez.
Wow, I didn't know he was going to do that, Joe. I don't think he used a lot of brake. I think he just sent it in there and hoped for the best.
Oh my goodness. We've been spoiled these last 2 weeks, Trey.
That's insane, Joe. I was worried for the 54 with the way his season's been with leading races and something going wrong. I thought they were going to run out of gas.
Can you believe that after all the bad luck we've talked about with Chris Jericho, he's now sitting on 2 straight victories and maybe a championship favorite now?
He definitely, honestly, could be, Joe. He's definitely going to be a championship favorite after the momentum he's been building, Joe. 1, he won 2 races in a row, and 2, Joe, he now has a tournament finale to look forward to. And 2 races in a row, you win, and you're going up against the 54. If you're Bryce Egan, you're going to be a little bit worried, right?
Yeah, especially with how the 54 has been on intermediates this season. Right? I mean, he's led so many laps on intermediates. He could have won nearly all of them. It's just bad luck has gotten in the way. But, yeah, this is going to be an interesting time next week at Atlanta. We're going to see, Bryce Egan, Chris Jericho, both drivers with 2 victories this season. Only one of them's going to come out on top in the midseason tournament. This is going to be fascinating. And it was all set up, Trey, with an amazing race here tonight in Martinsville. It was a clean race as well. We only had 1 caution flag come out in 100 laps, and we saw battles for the lead constantly, and it came down to the last lap for the midseason tournament. What more could you want for out of this race?
I was so nervous, Joe, when I saw cars start pitting. I was like, oh no, don't add another element to this race. But luckily for the leader of Chris Jericho, he was able to do it. And I mean, look at the 1-2. Look at the 1, 2, 3, 4, Joe.
Yep. All 4 of them were in the midseason tournament. Not only that, they finished in pairs. Chris Jericho needed to beat Laura Chung. They finished 1-2. Bryce Egan needed to beat Brian Rodriguez. They finished 3-4. So, and how about this, Trey? We'll get to it later, actually. We'll get to it in the finishing results. We'll talk about some of the drivers that moved through the field, whatnot. There's a lot of surprises that came through the field and finished well. So, quickly, we'll now go take a look at the finishing results from a chaotic race at Martinsville. So here's how they finished in the Advanced Auto Parts 500 at the Martinsville Speedway. Look at those top 4 because they were the 4 battling in the midseason tournament. Jericho needed to beat Laura Chung. He does it. Bryce Egan needed to beat Brian Rodriguez. He does it with a last lap pass. Max Davis, the only non-midseason tournament driver to finish inside the top 5. He's the only non-midseason tournament driver to lead laps here tonight. And it was a solid night for Max Davis. Definitely wanted to win, but he'll definitely take it. Surprisingly, only 5 drivers led laps. They were the top 5 finishers. I don't know if I've ever seen that quite happen. with NR2003. Nathan Stapleton was nowhere all night. He ends up in 6th. So, we talked about, this is an off night for Nathan Stapleton. Where has he been? He's back in 18th. He's back in 12th. Well, he's finished in 6th place out of nowhere. So, the 75 crew, they made adjustments on pit road. They made it on fuel, and they finished inside the top 6 here tonight. Wasn't enough to keep the points lead, but it was enough to stay close. As Mathis Wells was all night long, I think, in 7th place. He ends up in 7th place. That's a great drive for that Atlanta Motorsports driver, a team and a driver that really needs something to go right. This was a great night for them. Keegan Thompson was involved in that wreck. He had damage. Came down pit road. They fixed it as best they could. He still stayed in 8th, so all 3 Tucson cars finished inside the top 10. That moves them up to 2nd in the team points, and now they're within 50 points of Otter Island Motorsports points. Joe Martinelli, a very solid night in 9th place. He kind of fell back there, got some spots back because of pit stops at the end, but solid night, and it moves him to within just a few points of Gabe Willard. As Jerry Tim was also nowhere tonight, he ends up in 10th. Gabe Willard ends up in 11th, so he keeps that 10th place spot in points. Joshua Cox moved back up to 12th at the end. Eli Bright, nowhere, got 13th. Anthony Hernandez, nowhere, got 14th. Cam Wright Jr. got a top 15. Drew Webb, 16th. Angel Gutierrez, 17th. Jordan Stout, 18th. Noah Brady got the wave around, ends up in 19th. And Bruno Giacomo started last, was in the wall on pit road. He gets 20th here tonight. Riley Spruitt was 2nd in the final laps, had to pit for fuel, was short. He ends up 21st, did stand the lead lap though. But definitely could have been a lot better of a night for him, and could have been a really big points night for him to move away from that battle for 10th. It just only moves him now closer to it, as he didn't finish all that well. Levi Shones was also short on fuel in 22nd. Same with Matthew Burnett. Matt Tuck had finally started to move up near the top 10. He had to pit for fuel. Same with Jacob Miller and Zachary DeLello, and William Seaman and Ludovic Charette, and some more down here. Tegan Fox, Tyler Belladonna, and then 31st down, Lathan Strickland, Tim Gary, Johnny Cox, Chris Keselowski, Ryan Wilson, Alex Vitale, Robert Ashford, Jack Haas multiple laps down, same with Joe Hendry. Only cars out, Crown Jr. in 40th, and then 41st, Philip Torres, and 42nd, Justin Zeidel. The bracket, this out looks now. Final round, Jericho versus Bryce Egan for the midseason tournament win. So Tucson Racing versus Vision Motorsports. It's going to be a fun one, and we'll see who it is. Can Jericho, the 21st seed, do it, or can Bryce Egan, the 6th seed, get it done next time out at Atlanta? Now the point standings, 19 races in, 5 races left until we get to chase time, and the top of the points, it really could not be much closer. Brian Rodriguez is back to the points lead by a single point over Nathan Stapleton and by 2 single points over Laura Chung. So top 3, 2 points separate them. It's going to be a wild last 5 races to determine who gets the regular season championship and all that. Bryce Egan, Jerry Chen, and a world of their own, 4th and 5th in points. They're 30 points back at the points, and they're about 60 points clear of 6th place, which is now Max Davis, moved up very nicely. Keegan Thompson now 7th, Jack Haas down to 8th, getting towards that danger zone. Riley Spurtube down to 9th, really in the danger zone, and Gabe Willard is now 10th. Just 3 points behind Willard is Jude Martinelli, 11th in the point standings. So Martinelli is 3 points back of Willard. So Willard's up by 3. Spurtube's up by 4. Jack Haas is only up by 9. Keegan Thompson's only up by 15. And Max Davis is only up by 17. So 6th through 11th, separated by 17 points. Matt Tuck lost ground here tonight at Martinsville. He's now 34 points back of the top 10. And Chris Jericho, out of nowhere, is now up to 13th in points, 2 victories. He's basically now nearly a lock for a wildcard spot. The question is, can he find a way to somehow get himself inside the top 10 in points? Because remember, wildcards don't get any bonus points for the chase. Those 2 wins would mean nothing in terms of bonus points if he can't make it inside the top 10. Eli Bright is now 14th in points, but that wildcard spot is looking further and further out of reach if Matt Tuck and Chris Jericho can't get themselves up inside the top 10 in the point standings. Same with Levi Shones. He's going to need another victory this season to definitely have a shot at the second wildcard spot. And now we look at the team points. Otter Island continues to lead, but now within 50 points of them is Tucson Racing in second. Vision Motorsports about a little less than 70 points back in third, and then a great battle, 4th down to 7th or so. So 4th in points. In team points is Galway Automotive. They're tied with Southern Cross Racing. Just 20 points behind them is Full Sail Sport, and only 24 points behind them is EKH Enterprises. That's a great 4-team battle, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th in points. Mean Motorsports still by themselves in 8th. Ace Motorsports trying to fend off Atlanta Motorsports 9th and 10th. So Trey, as we look at the rest of the owner standings, final thoughts, a crazy Martinsville race, a lot of stuff happening there. And in the end, Jericho gets back-to-back wins. He advances, and Bryce Egan with the last lap pass advances over Brian Rodriguez.
That was there's a lot of stuff going on right now, Joe. That's a lot of information. A lot of big changes just happened after one race. I, wow. Yeah. I mean, this. Who would have thought that a relatively clean Martinsville race would have shaken literally everything to do with the series up?
Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, so now you have the wild cards in a mess, right? It's like everyone's like, oh gosh, Jericho and Tucker basically lost to get the wild card now. But they're still fast enough, I think, in these 5 races. They could gain the points required to get up inside the top 10 in points. So that'll be fascinating to watch. The points lead, just 2 points separate the top 3. The battle for the top 10, there's 6 guys within 17 points or so. That's absolutely insane to me. And then, the mid-season tournament battle came down right to the last lap. The top 4 finishers were the 4 drivers left in the mid-season tournament. You had drivers that were nowhere all race long end up inside the top 10, top 15, top 20. Oh my gosh, I could maybe characterize this race of the season so far.
What's next week, Joe?
Next week's going to be a very fun race, Trey. Friday night, July 4th. At 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on JRTV, the finale of the midseason tournament, Atlanta.
Right.
That's a fun track in NR2003.
Okay. So we got close points battle. We got tournament finishing up. Atlanta, of all tracks to go to. Owner points, wild card. I think our stats guys, they need to make me a cheat sheet that has a bunch of highlight stuff on it so I can look down and be like, oh, yeah, this is also going on at the moment in time while I'm focusing on 50 other things.
And you know what? In 2 weeks' time, we're back to our Monday schedule. And, actually, it'll be a little bit longer than that because, no, it will be 2 weeks. We'll be back to our Monday schedule. And it will be Watkins Glen, our 3rd road course of the season. That's probably going to be the best road course race of the season because we're using the boot. And the boot version is an absolutely amazing version of Watkins Glen. So there's a lot going on. But next time out, July 4th, under the lights from the Atlanta Motor Speedway to crown a mid-season tournament champion. That is, once again, July 4th, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on JRTV. Let's congratulate Chris Jericho. His 2nd straight victory of the season gets it done in thrilling fashion from the Martinsville Speedway. For Trey Bardo, I'm Joe Rakowski. So long, but tune in on July 4th for Atlanta.